Hey, what's up everybody? It's Coach Matt over here at EliteThrowsCoaching.com, and in today's video, I am going to be talking to you a little bit more about how to get faster in the circle. But before we get to that, as you just saw on this green screen that went by, we are doing a coaching clinic here at the gym on November 30th. We want all of the local coaches that are watching this video to check out the link that's right up above. Click that link, go to our website, check out what's going to be happening at that clinic. It is a 100% custom clinic just for you. So everything at this clinic is all based on a question and answer survey that I send you after you sign up. So you sign up, you get the survey, I ask you specifically what are things that you need to work on, and then I actually design the clinic based around exactly what you want. So make sure if you are in the area or if you feel like taking a trip up on a weekend, make sure to click that link right up above. We'll get you going here with our clinic, and you will leave with all of the information that has been custom tailored to exactly what you need. All right, so the World Championships just wrapped up. We had some phenomenal performances, especially the rotational shot put, which was absolutely insane. Probably the best shot put competition, hands down, ever to be held, ever anywhere before in the world. One of the craziest things I've ever seen, but we had 3 rotational shot putters that went over 75 feet. You had discus throwers that were just motoring through the circle, especially in the women's discus. You had somebody from the US who won women's hammer, absolutely flying through the circle. And I don't know what it is about big meets like the World Championships or the Olympics, but after there's a big meet, I always get questions from people, whether it's comments under the YouTube channel. You guys can leave comments right down below. I read and answer every single one that I can. Whether it's emails or text messages, phone calls, Instagram messages, people always reach out to me after a big meet and they always go, Coach Matt, how do I get faster in the circle? How is this possible? I see everybody else at the world-class level and they're flying through the circle. They are so fast, they are so quick, they are so explosive. How do I get faster in the circle? How do I improve? How do I add speed to get the thing flying out there farther? And whether you're a hammer thrower, whether you're a glide shot putter, rotational shot putter, discus thrower, hey, even a javelin thrower on the javelin runway, if you need to get faster in the circle, you've got to watch this video because I'm going to give you my thoughts on how you can increase speed as a thrower, speed that actually will translate into your throws. All right, so the name of a guy that you need to know is not a throws coach. He actually passed away about, I think maybe 8 or 9 years ago now, but he is a famous, sometimes infamous, in the track and field world, sprinting coach by the name of Charlie Francis. Now, Charlie Francis was Ben Johnson's, most famously known as Ben Johnson's sprint coach. And Charlie was a controversial figure. Charlie had written a few books on sprinting and sprint training. He has spoken all over the place. You can see a lot of his talks online and on YouTube just by searching his name, Charlie Francis. But one of the things that I really liked about Charlie is that he kind of told it like it is. He didn't kind of add any fluff to anything. He did not pull any punches. He just told it like it is. And in one of his books that I read, can't even remember the name of the book. I wish I could, but I read it years ago. And in a lot of his talks, he talked about the 2 ways that you can get faster as a sprinter. He said there's only 2 ways that you can get faster as a sprinter. The first way is to improve your actual sprinting technique. Okay, so improve your running form and technique. That's everything from coming out of the blocks to, foot striking to, everything else that goes into sprinting. Or you put more power in the ground. So you deliver more force into the ground and you go faster. That's kind of it. You're running in a straight line or you're running kind of with a little bit of a bend. If you're, say, under a 400-meter runner, or if you are a jumper, if you are a long jumper, triple jumper, and you want pole vaulter and you want to increase your speed, basically improve your technique and put more force, put more power into the ground. And for sprinters, that works great. So I'm going to give you my own take, my own spin, get it? My own spin on what Charlie Francis said by saying that really there's only 2 ways that you can get faster in the circle. The only two ways you're going to get faster in the circle is, number one, improve your technique in the circle. So we did a whole video, I'm going to put a link right up above. We did a whole video talking about getting your throw more efficient, basically cutting down on unnecessary movements, cutting down on longer movements, cutting down on all of the kind of extra stuff that you do in the circle, and that's going to help you to, move a lot more efficiently through the circle and increase your speed in the circle. Basically, what we said in that video was, if you had a car that went 100 miles an hour and it had to go for 100 miles, and you had that same car that went 100 miles an hour and that had to drive for 200 miles, who's going to finish first? Well, if it's the identical car or the identical thrower, and one car has to go 100 miles and that same car has to go 200 miles, well, obviously, even though they're going the same speed and it's the same car, the one with the longer drive is going to take a lot longer to get there. It's the same thing. If you're in the circle, you're doing all types of crazy movements with your arm and the discus, and your legs are like kicking all over the place, and you're up and you're down and you're bending and all this crazy stuff. Oh, guess what's going to happen? You're going this longer path. Your body has a longer distance to move. You are going to be slower. If you cut down on the unnecessary movements, if you make your technique better, if you make your technique more efficient, you are going to be faster in the circle. Now, the only other way to kind of take from Charlie a little bit is you get faster outside the circle. Okay, so getting faster outside the circle is probably going to be something that everybody here needs to do. Let's face it, I'm not going to try to pull any punches. A lot of throwers are bigger people. A lot of throwers are tall, they are heavy. A lot of throwers are not naturally fast. Yes, there are the freak shows out there. There are the 6'5", 300-pound high school 17-year-old who is just lightning fast in the circle. You don't see that everywhere. That is extremely, extremely rare. That is not common. Usually the big 6'5", 300-pound discus thrower, 17-year-old discus thrower is not going to be fast in the circle, because more than likely he's not fast outside of the circle. Same thing goes from the girls. A lot of girls are going to be shorter and a little bit heavier. Just being honest, I've been doing this for 25 years. Most female throwers that are out there are going to be bigger athletes, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But if they're not moving fast outside the circle, they're probably not going to be moving fast inside the circle. So if you want to get faster in the circle, number one, improve your technique, make it more efficient. Number two, get faster outside the circle. If you make your body faster outside the circle, you are going to then be faster inside the circle. And I know people are going to go, well, it's all about technique. Yes, it is. Improve your technique. But if you have really good technique and you are really slow, it doesn't really matter too much, because somebody who has really good technique and is a lot faster and more athletic than you, they're going to be going a heck of a lot faster in the circle. Okay, so here's what you can do and what you should be doing outside of the circle to get yourself faster. This is a list of exercises, kind of off the top of my head, things that we have used here in the gym, and this list was actually taken from an older video from about 5 or 6 years ago that talked about getting faster, getting more explosive without using the traditional Olympic lifts. So as you can see, I've included the Olympic lifts and their variations in this list because they are a great tool to use to get faster, to get more explosive. But what we're talking about here is kind of a general, big, huge list of things that you can pick from that you may have access to, equipment that you might have at your school to get your athletes faster outside of the circle so that they can then get or be faster in the circle. So we already talked about Olympic lifts and their variations. You can see the arrow, things like barbell push press, behind the neck jerks, jerks in the front. I really wouldn't consider those Olympic lifting variations as far as track coaches normally see it. A lot of track coaches see the Olympic lifts and their variations as different types of cleans and different types of snatches. So, cleans from the hang, power cleans, the whole deal. I mean, we could probably write a list this long of just Olympic lifting variations that are out there. Some people like Olympic lifting variations. Some people don't like them. Some people love them but don't have the equipment or the room. Some people hate them even though they have the equipment in the room. Some people just don't know how to teach them. So Olympic lifts are always one of those things where some people love them, some people hate them, some of them they don't have the equipment, whatever it might be. The rest of this list is typically things that are a lot easier to teach, especially for a big group of athletes, and things that you can get your team doing outside the circle to get them faster. So let's talk about some jumps. You've got typical box jumps. You've got seated box jumps where you sit down on a box and then jump. Depth jumps. You've got jumping lunges, repeat hurdle hops, and then combinations of all of these. What if you did a seated box jump? So you sit down on a box and then you jump up onto another box, depth jump, and then go over 2 hurdles. You can put these all together, connect them all together. Let's talk about the dumbbell kind of quick lifts. So dumbbell clean and press, dumbbell snatch with 1 or 2 dumbbells, dumbbell jerks with 1 or 2 dumbbells, dumbbell push press, 1 or 2 dumbbells. And then of course these down here are Olympic lifting variations, but you don't necessarily need to be like super knowledgeable to do them, I guess is the best way of saying it. So barbell push press, behind the neck jerks, and jerks from the front. You don't have to be super knowledgeable in like how to do cleans and how to do snatches to do these. These are pretty simple. How about throws? Med ball throws. You can throw light shot puts, heavy shot puts, throwing puds, dumbbells, kettlebells, discus balls, knocking balls, even things like bowling pins and pipes you can use to get your athletes faster. How about just taking your typical gym lifts that you probably already do and actually making them faster? So speed squats, speed bench press, speed deadlifts, box squats, and other kind of what I would consider conjugate style dynamic day movements. So using things like chains, using things like bands, moving the bar a lot faster, taking a much lighter percentage of an athlete's 1 rep max, say anywhere from 30 to 50%, and getting them to move that bar as quickly as possible. What about homemade stuff? Homemade sandbags or store-bought. You can buy them online now. Bulgarian bags. You can make your own out of inner tubes, or you can buy them online. Totally up to you. Sprinting. You want to get your athlete fast. Sprinting is a great way to get them fast, and it doesn't cost any money. How about sprinting? Short sprints on a nice flat ground. Pretty simple. You got flat ground. You got athletes with feet. They can run. So get them sprinting. Hill sprints. Find a hill, sprint up the hill, walk down, take 30 seconds rest, sprint up the hill again, rinse, repeat. Pretty simple. Skipping drills. Go talk to your sprints coaches about skipping. They got a million different ways that they get their sprinters to skip. Have your throwers skip. Bleachers. You get bleachers at your school, sprint up and down the bleachers. Pretty simple. Get them sprinting. How about things like sleds? Okay, resisted pushing and resisted pulling of sleds, prowlers, whatever you want to call them. There's a lot of companies out there, or you can make your own. You can find plans online to make your own out of, old tires and cement and plywood. Really, really simple. And of course, resisted running, using things like bands and harnesses to hold people back as they run. So this is just sort of from that old video and then off the top of my head, a bunch of ways that your athletes can get faster outside the circle, get more explosive outside the circle to help them to be faster and more explosive inside the circle. Okay, so I just showed you the ingredients on the previous part of the video. Now let's talk about the recipe. How do we mix all these things together to actually get them to work? Well, here are my rules for implementing speed training into a typical week of practice. First of all, you want to do speed training 2 to 3 times per week. Now, normally in the beginning of the season, you can get 3 times per week. You typically don't have a lot of track meets the first 3 to 4 weeks of the season, or if you do have meets, they're typically just kind of smaller dual meets or invitationals that, let's be honest, don't really count for anything. So 2 to 3 times per week. You want to keep the exercises to around 24 total repetitions. So 24 total repetitions. Let's talk about something like a repeat hurdle hop. You set 3 hurdles up in front of the athlete, jump, 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 that's 3. So you're going to do 8 sets of 3. So they're going to jump, 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 and then get back in line. Everybody else is going to go, and then they're going to jump, 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 get back in line. They're going to do that 8 times. That's 24 total reps. What about something like, med ball throws? So you're going to explode with a med ball. throw it backwards over your head to a partner. They're going to throw it backwards over their head back to you, and then repeat 24 times in a row. You don't want to go 100 different times in a row. You don't want to kind of throw them into something where they're doing a half an hour of med ball throws, because then that becomes conditioning. That becomes endurance training. It's not exactly what we're looking for. You can even mix it up. Say you have 3 different med ball exercises. You're going to go overhead for 8 back and forth with a partner. Between the legs and forward for 8 back and forth to a partner. And then maybe you do a third different type of throw 8 times to your partner. There's 24 reps. Let's talk about something like, for example, a dumbbell snatch, 12 sets of 2, a speed squat, speed bench, 12 sets of 2. You're going to do 2 repetitions as fast as possible, take a little break, do that 12 times. That's 24 total reps. You are going to keep these short and sweet. So for example, sprinting. Sprints are going to be, 40, 50, 30 meters long. Nice, quick, explosive, ballistic, repetitive sprints. You're not going to have your throwers go out and run 2 miles. That's not going to teach them to be fast. Getting them moving fast is going to make them faster. So make sure short sprints. If you're doing bleacher runs, have them go run up 20 steps. Don't have them run 50 steps all the way to the top, run all the way across, run 50 steps down, run all the way across, and repeat, because again, that is endurance, that's not speed. Okay, same thing with hill sprints. Don't get them on a half-mile long hill near your school. Get them on a short and sweet hill. Sprint up the hill, stop, walk down, take a breather, sprint up the hill again, stop, walk down, take a breather, sprint up the hill. Teach them to be fast. Again, speed is the name of the game. If you are going too long, or if you are doing too much, your athletes are going to start to slow down. And if they slow down, they are not moving fast, and they are not training themselves to move fast, and that's what we're looking for. We're getting your athletes to move faster. So hopping on an exercise bike and pedaling for 30 minutes at a nice slow pace, or having your throwers go out for a 2-mile jog or whatever it might be, that might get them in better endurance, better cardio, but we're looking for speed. So shorten it up, make it faster. Something like a sled pull or a sled push. You're not going to have them push the sled for a quarter of a mile up and down your parking lot. You're going to have them explosively run while they push that sled, and then their partner is going to explosively run and push the sled, and then somebody else will run and push the sled. It's not going to be a slow, lethargic march for a half a mile or something crazy like that. And finally, pick 3 and go. So that whole big list that I just had up there, pick 3 of those exercises and then cut it right there. That's probably going to take about, let's say, a half an hour, 2 to 3 times a week. That's not a huge time investment to get your throwers faster. But if you want to be fast inside the circle, you have to be fast outside the circle. You are never going to take somebody who outside the circle is big and heavy and slow and clumsy and has no agility and has no coordination and has no balance, and then think they're going to walk in the circle and then just magically it's all going to pop together and they're going to be going 100 miles an hour in the circle throwing the discus 200 feet. That's not how this works. If you want to be fast in the circle, you've got to be fast outside the circle. All right, guys, that's going to do it from here. Please make sure to click that link up above to check out our coaching clinic that's happening here in Cranston, Rhode Island, right here at the gym on November 30th. It's an all-day event. I think you're really going to like it. And make sure, too, at the very end of this video, all this stuff is going to be popping up on screen. It's a link to subscribe to this channel. It's huge. That's how you get all of these videos sent to you at YouTube every single week when they pop out. There's going to be some video links and some links to our camps and clinics. Make sure if you're interested, click those links and check us out. And again, if there's any questions, please leave them in the comments section right down below, and I will get back to you in a future video.